This is your Adventist News, a service of the South Bahamas Conference of Seventh-day Adventists. I'm Charlie Thompson. In this week's broadcast, Adventist Youth Leaders become certified, and children ministry leaders are called to serve. These stories and more on this week's Adventist News. Over 300 youth leaders from churches across Nassau converged at Bahamas Academy for the 5th Annual Adventist Certification and Leadership Assessment, the A-Class. The A-Class took place on Friday and Sabbath, February 3rd and 4th, 2023, for Adventurer and Pathfinder Directors and Assistants, Master Guides in Training, counselors, Adventist Youth Leaders, and Public Campus Ministries leaders. The leaders participated in interactive presentations, dynamic group activities, collaborative budget planning, church manual youth amendments, counseling sessions, role plays, camping planning, spiritual activities for nature events, team building activities, and more. All attendees signed the new Volunteer Code for the Protection of Children and Youth. According to the youth director, Pastor Jamal Franklin, these classes are to keep youth leaders updated on policies in the department.
We had a lot of seminars this weekend. They included safety and the counselor, child protection policy, volunteer policy, camping arrangements in terms of the ratio between counselor and pathfinders and adventurers. That has changed. It's now 2-to-1. In years past, it was 3-to-1, then 5-to-1. Now it's actually 2-to-1. And also mental health counseling and collaborative and comprehensive budgeting.
One of the most important policies covered over the weekend was safety and child protection.
All of our volunteers had to sign a code of conduct to protect minors in our youth ministries and to be aware of detecting when a child or a youth is being abused, whether it's verbally or physically or mentally or cyberly, if that's a word, right? Or electronically, virtually, to be able to know who to go to. And Superintendent Kemal Knowles led out in that particular seminar. We're grateful to our Adventists who serve in the public sector to update us to make sure that we're compliant with the changes in policy and law.
The certification class also benefits Pathfinder Directors and Master Guides as they prepare for the Inter-American Division Pathfinder Camporee in Jamaica from April 4th through 8th, 2023. On February 3rd, the Children's and Adolescent Ministries Department of the South Bahamas Conference held their consecration service at the Good News Seventh-day Adventist Church under the theme, I Will Go, teaching little hearts to minister for a big God. In her charge, guest speaker for the service, former Inter-American Division CHAMS Director, Mrs. Dinora Rivera, gave an illustration of what walking with weights looks like in connection with her theme, Going Beyond.
It is easy to think that I can walk with a couple of bottles in my hands to give me a little strength in my arms. It could be a lot easy and it will be a good thing to do. But what about picking and thinking about a heavy weight and walk miles and miles with that heavy weight? It requires that I use all my might, all what I have in order to achieve what we want. And that is precisely what it means to go beyond.
Mrs. Rivera also added that going beyond your limit is going beyond one's comfort zone.
It's pushing past your limits. It's taking a new and progressively harder challenge. If you are not challenged to do bigger and bigger things on a regular basis, you are only working within the confines of what you already can do. And that is a sure way to stay exactly where you are and make little or no progress.
The consecration service was also attended by the Atlantic Caribbean Union CHAMS Director, Dr. Cheryl Roll, who led out with the litany for the leaders, children, and parents. President of the South Bahamas Conference, Pastor Kenny DeVoe, brought greetings and encouraged the leaders to be mindful of the lives and examples they lead, because children are always watching. The service culminated with a candle lighting service and consecration prayer by Ms. Cherise Turnquest. CHAMS Ministries Director Kenesha Auntie K. Sims further encouraged the local church leaders to go and teach little hearts to minister for our big God. And our newsreel for this week's news comes to us from the South Bahamas Conference, Exuma and Andres District. From January 27th through 30th, CHAMS Ministries Director Kenesha Auntie K. Sims spent a weekend worshiping with the children from the Exuma District of Churches with a Friday night Vesper service, followed by Children's Day on Sabbath. She preached on Name Enslaved Girl, Little Hearts Ministering for Our Big God. Elder Teddy Clark represented the Adventist community as the guest speaker at the honor ceremony for the Mount Thompson Primary School. Under the theme, On a Mission for Jesus, the South Andres and Mangrove Key Adventurer and Pathfinder Clubs held a stellar Investiture service on January 28, 2023. Guest speaker was Pastor Jamal Franklin, SVC Youth Director, who reminded the youth that the Investiture service is a precursor of the heavenly Investiture. After this commercial break, we will have more on what's coming up in the South Bahamas Conference.
For the first time in history, the Inter-American Division Pathfinder Camporee will be held on the beautiful island of Jamaica, Montego Bay, from April 4th to the 8th, 2023.
Pathfinders in the Cayman Islands.
Pathfinders in the North Bahamas.
Pathfinders in the South Bahamas Conference.
Pathfinders in the Turks and Caicos Islands.
Get ready to join us
In Montego Bay,
Jamaica.
April 4 to 8.
2023.
Come secure your spot. Register now.
Come pitch your tent under the starry sky.
Come enjoy the outdoor experiences.
Come.
Let's worship
And fellowship
together.
Pathfinders in Mission. I will go.
I will go.
I will go.
I will go.
I will go. Will you?
And coming up in the South Bahamas Conference. On February 11, 2023, beginning at 1:30 p.m., the Women's Outreach Ministry of the Breath of Life Church will be spreading the word and love of God. Little tokens and gifts will also be given at this time. The North Caribbean Union is inviting everyone to join them on February 18, 2023 at 12 o'clock for their day of prayer. The service will be at the NCU Church and broadcasted on their YouTube channel. The university will also be hosting a health awareness prayer walk on February 26, 2023, as part of its global fundraising efforts. You can register for this event at ncuadvanevents.com. This will help the university in its goal to obtain funds for various school departments, research programs, and scholarships. The Community Services Department of the Centerville Church is inviting all to a sip and paint at Utopia Gardens. This event will be held Sunday, February 19th from 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. To learn more about this event or to make reservations, contact 457-4755. The proceeds will fund the Adult Literacy Program, tutoring for community kids, and other empowerment programs. Feel free to visit the South Bahamas Conference website at southbahamasconference.org to receive more information on all of our upcoming conference events. There, you can also view a rebroadcast of our Adventist News Update, along with other local programming from our cable channel ATV 658. Read the weekly Logos, as well as the Adventist page from the Nassau Guardian.
poisoning occurs when we consume food containing contaminants. The most common contaminators are from infectious organisms such as viruses, parasites, and bacteria. Some foods that can cause food poisoning are poultry, vegetables and leafy greens, and pasteurized dairy. Having nausea, vomiting, watery or bloody diarrhea, abdominal pain, and fever are signs of food contamination. Healthline suggests some ways to reduce your risk of food poisoning. 1. Wash your hands with soap and water before preparing food and right after touching raw meat. 2. Wash fresh produce before eating them, even if they're prepackaged. 3. Avoid cross-contamination by using separate knives and cutting boards for raw meat. 4. Pay attention to the use by date sticker. Don't use a product because it looks or smells okay. This has been Patrick Wilson with your health tip, courtesy of Adventist Television. And remember, God wants us to prosper and be in good health.
Let's go now to the Adventist News Network with our news feature from around the world.
International Rescue and Relief students Alan Stafford and Christian Thomas from Union College in Lincoln, Nebraska, United States, sprang into action during their flight to Washington State. Flight attendants requested assistance from any EMTs or doctors on the flight for a woman who had collapsed in the aisle. Stafford and Thomas, along with an emergency room doctor who was also on the flight, ran to her side to help. The students put the emergency medical training they received as part of their degree at Union College into practice. Thomas said, "I believe we are placed in positions where we can best help serve others and glorify God."
Well, that's it for our Adventist news from the South Bahamas Conference of Seventh-day Adventists. To share what is happening at your church, please email your news stories and upcoming events to svcadventistnews@gmail.com. To view a rebroadcast of the Adventist News, along with other programming, and to keep in touch with what's happening in our conference, visit our website at southbahamasconference.org. The SBC Media Network's Facebook and Instagram pages are filled with lots of material from the Communications Department, so you would want to check those out. And remember to subscribe, like, follow, and share. You can watch and listen to programs from our radio station, we're at SBC 88.3 FM, and our Adventist television channel, ATV 658. Get updates, insights, and first-hand information from the SBC Media Network as it happens. The programming from ATV 658 can also be viewed on the South Bahamas Conference YouTube channel, so feel free to watch a recap of our Adventist news. On behalf of our production team, it was our pleasure bringing you tonight's news update. I'm Charlie Thompson for the SBC Media Network. Have a happy Sabbath.